Good day, everybody. So welcome back. So today is a very strange day. It's fresh and a bit strange. So it is nice to be here, really, and looking forward because today is Shani Jayanti, where the Lord Shanidev is worshipped, and really may his blessing and protection be with all of you. So, Jai Gopal.
Dear Guruji, I have noticed that even amongst Hindus, there is a lot of Guru-phobia. They often believe that gurus today are not real. What is the best response when dealing with such people?
Sorry, can you repeat?
I have noticed that even amongst Hindus, there is a lot of Guru-phobia.
Yeah, you see, the problem is when people look on the outside things, of course they perceive the external reality of the guru, and of course they judge and criticize the gurus and put all the gurus in the same basket as some of the gurus which is dressed as guru, but in reality they are businessmen. And of course, seeing that, especially when we look at in India, the majority of the population, are very humble, from a very humble caste itself, and yet they don't get access to very often to the so-called gurus. When we look around, you see very often gurus, the guru which is famous actually, they have all a certain standard of people around them. So when people look at that, and see the entertainment which the gurus are, so-called gurus are doing, of course, in the mind of the people, they start to judge and criticize the guru because they think that all the gurus are the same. Now, but firstly, you have to know that those gurus who just give these entertainment are just there for your money, and of course, for them, they are selling spirituality to the masses, and the aim is not about God. You will clearly see that already they don't talk about God. In place of talking about God, they criticize God. They make fun of the saints and the sadhus. And for them, they don't have any really aim. Their aim is that just to be happy here, that's it, that's enough. But that don't bring one to the deeper understanding of who the guru is. And of course, seeing that, people put all the gurus in the same basket. So that's why there is this phobia. And also one thing you have to see, there's a big, nowadays everybody want to be like in the West. This is also different things. Nobody want to take responsibility, because you see, if you start to follow a guru, you have to learn to listen to the guru. But this is not what majority of the people want. They want to be free from how it used to be. So they start to follow the Western mindset, forgetting that the West, they are very anchored into their belief and their spirituality itself. So take, for example, in America, the church is very powerful. What makes the church powerful is the people which support that idea of the church and make it very powerful. And in India, you see our beautiful culture is being destroyed because of a misunderstanding of their own culture. And there is not people which explain them firstly about their culture, how rich it is, what the rishis and the munis have given to them. And that's why, due to that misunderstanding, they try to find happiness elsewhere. Today I got a message from somebody You know, saying there was in one temple in Kerala, they put a beautiful deity of Bharat Mata, you know, Mother India, which for us, you know, we have to be proud of our motherland, you know, and we are proud, you know, what she have given us, you know, and even Lord Krishna speak about, you know, how we have to be proud of our where we were born and honor that. You know? And yet, you see, there are some people which were not too happy to see that deity there, that statue there outside, you know, and they complain and they said, oh, we can't look at it because it's offending us. You know, beyond your religion, you belong to that land, you know, firstly. And you have to be proud of that land, you know, what that land have given you. And be respectful to that. And they say, no, we can't look at it. If you know, if somebody is wrong with your mother, you will treat her like that. You know, what kind of rascal could that people be? You know, but they can't look at Mother India herself. You know, of course, it's not the whole. It's not the statue is not Mother India, but it's a representative of her. You know, it reminds you of that quality, but the culture, the beauty of that land itself, which have contributed through thousands and thousands of years, you know, in educating the people and really bring forth to that rich culture to the people and made you and fashioned you to what you are today. Why have you to be ashamed of that? You know, so you see that what the education is doing nowadays, you know, is not bringing people to that deeper understanding of their root itself and the beauty of that. Of course, due to that also you have a lot of politics also behind that, you know, you have a politician behind that, you have so many things behind this that make people also go away from religion, go away from Guru also, you know, because what they see on the outside. So you see, if the Hindu culture is want to progress really, they have to become strong into their belief, and they have to become strong into really understand, you know, what the Guru is there for. The Guru is not there, like I always say, for themselves. They are there to uplift mankind, you know, so that you can rise above, you know, and attain something deeper, you know, not only just the superficial of the material world, but attain to something deep, you know. Doesn't matter who you believe in, you know, attain to that state where you have your faith upon, you know. But faith is very important, you know. Without faith, of course you will not, you know. Here you, with a mind which is full of judgment and criticism, you are going to say, okay, I want to follow the Guru, but you have your agenda behind, you know. And if that Guru has to fulfill that agenda, that Guru is bad, you know. So that is the problem with the mindset of people, you know. They go around, they are full, you know, and then yet upon that they expect that the Guru is a fulfilling machine, you know, but like a wish-fulfilling well, whatever you drop inside, then God and Guru have to fulfill it for you, you know? And this is why, you know, when you go to the Guru, you don't go like this, you know. So you go empty, and that's why you see that the rich culture, you know, the people are moving away. They don't have faith in the Gurus, you know, because of their own expectation. Due to their expectation, they will not perceive the Guru of what the Guru want to give them. So in that context, you see very well that India is, you know, the people are forgetting about that, and it is very sad actually, because you see there's many Gurus who are truly sincere. You know, when we travel around, you will see there is a saint in a certain village, in a very simple way, he will have only one disciple. Because he trained that disciple and make that disciple what he have to be. No? And of course, very often you don't know about these saints. They are so local and they are so hidden sometimes, and but one don't perceive that. But yet, you see, we like to put our own judgment upon the saints and upon the Guru, saying the Guru is like this and like this and like that, due to what media show also, and due to what politics have pushed forward. There's a big scam about all these things. Behind the scene, you see only the outside things, what one show on the outside, but yet, that's why, when the media and then the other things are showing the Guru in a very bad way, everybody is run toward that. We have to see that very often, are people which is against Hinduism itself, who propagate such, I say, things about the Gurus. So awake and see, truly what the Gurus have been doing for you now, how your life have changed. It's not about doing a business or doing, I go to the Guru to fulfill all my wish. No, see in deepness what the Guru have uplifted inside of you. He have made you humble so that you can really attain to something deep. It have transformed you. Like Bhagavan said in in Bhagavad, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 26. It said, the humble, to those which is humble of heart, they have your name constantly upon their lips. And for them, you appear to manifest yourself. But those who ambition is focused upon the social status, their mind which is focused on name, fame, glory, the power, they don't deserve even to take your name. So this is clearly explaining, which kind of people really deserve to go deeper into the spiritual path itself. Those which is worthy. If you are not worthy, of course the Guru will come. Even God will manifest himself in full opulences in front of you. You will never be able to profit from that because your mind is so far away. Your mind is so attached into the external reality. So that's why those people which mind is so focused upon running behind name, fame, glory, and behind, they are so proud of their education, they're so proud about their social status and so on. But one said they are not deserve of him. So if they don't deserve, their mind is not there to attract him, how would they take the name of God? They can, nowadays you see also in the West itself, all the celebrities, they're all doing spiritual things, oh, I'm chanting some mantras, exactly that, But for them, they chant the mantra, but it's just a show of the outside, So they will not understand really the deepness what the Guru have been for generation giving to the disciple, that blessing what come from the Guru, and that grace what the Guru gave, like Krishna said, when Guru gave that grace, I bless those people, That's why it is said also when Guru, when somebody, how it is said, if God is angry with someone, Guru can always protect. But if Guru's angry with someone, even God can't protect. So in that context, you see, one have to, when one takes shelter at the Guru's feet, doesn't matter which tradition you come from, But of course, the Vaishnava tradition is one of the most beautiful and most deeper understanding of the Guru Parampara itself, And of course, you have different parampara, different sampradayas also. I would not say that others are not beautiful. They have also, each tradition have the beauty into it, you know. So when you take shelter to the Guru, then give fully your heart into that, you know. And of course, you know, then you will have that deeper meaning of who the Guru is, you know. That's why the mantra Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Mahesha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. It's not just a mantra which is just given like that, you know. So realizing that by surrendering to the feet of the Guru, then only we can get to know him. If we don't surrender to him, we just look at him from far away and from a distance and said, yes, yes, we believe in him and we know him. No, you don't know him. You will get to know him only when you go into deep intimacy with that Guru, you know. We go deeper into the relationship to the Guru, then you get to know him. So touching the surface from the outside is not only that, you know. So it is like that. You are putting a cake and tell from far away what is the taste of that cake, you know. So you will never know what is the taste of that cake, you know, by looking from far away. Only when you taste it, then you will know about it. So that's why very often, you know, people are scared, you know, to adventure into that. That's why you have a polemic about gurus also, you know, and also you see the polemic about gurus is also about other religion putting upon, you know, they don't, you know, like I said, Hinduism is such a deep culture in itself, and there is other who want to destroy that deep culture by different influences from from outside, from their own, belief and understanding. So when people look at these things, of course, they start to say, oh, they judge the Guru, they judge let's see, also, the difference. So the mind is corrupted. So when the mind is corrupted, then one tries to fight it. Then one tries to go away from that. So that's why you will see that often people, you have this, the Guru-phobia. Because also in the West, you know, let's say not only in India, so what the West have given to India, you know, the concept of whenever we mention the word Guru itself, you know, it is something bad. You know, not forgetting that your whole culture, even here itself, have been based on discipleship. You know, even Jesus had disciple. It is his disciple that have propagate his mission everywhere. So it is also a Guru Parampara itself, you know. So your whole culture here itself is based upon Guru Parampara itself, you know. So Jesus was the Guru for for the people here in the West. So you see the same, you know, in India. So why changing? You know? So just need to understand the deepness of what the Guru want. And we see very sometimes back, somebody sent me a video where some people were beating a sadhu. You know, the sadhu was going asking for alms, because this is what the sadhu does. And some people were beating the sadhu, which is very shameful. You know, a sadhu is mending his own business. He don't go around, he's not fighting or propagating different things. No, the sadhu are very simple people, and yet you see how the mind of people is. You know, the sadhu were not doing anything. So you see that also. What this is the sadness. What is happening in India, and this is fueled very often by politicians, and of course people which with they lack understanding in the mind. They don't even think, you know, they just act so brutally, so cruelly, you know. So if you don't think, then what the use God have given you a brain for? So that's why you see these phobias, you know. But any kind of phobia, if it is a misunderstanding, you know, only. You know. So when you rise above these phobias, you know, then you see the world in a different aspect. So use the brain which God have given you and start to reason and think a little bit.
Dear Guruji, sometimes I have to take decisions and tend to be rather cautious about potential risks. but maybe I do not trust God enough. How do we distinguish between lack of faith and common sense?
Look, in everything that you do, faith must be there. This is one duty. And in performing your duty here, you have to love what you're doing. So common sense must be there. You have a brain which God have given you. You have to reason with that. And when you reason with your brain, you have to have faith that it will work. So both goes hand in hand. They are not separate from each another. But the problem is that people use so much of their brain, and they don't have faith into what they are doing. So that's why nothing works. Ideas keep jumping into the mind of people. So when you have one idea, you can focus upon that idea, and you put your faith into that, the blessing of God will make it happen. But if you have 100 ideas and you want to fulfill all of them, then it becomes very difficult, because you are not centered into that single pointed. So it is the same thing. So that's why Bhagavan said, you have to perform your action. Whatever dharma you have been given to you. Chapter 3, verse 18, I think. What was it, Anshul? Yeah, so where Bhagavan said that action, the action which have been given to you, you have to perform it, because if you are in inaction, nothing will work. And if being in inaction itself, if being in this body itself, you have to be active. If you are inactive in that body, then you'll be useless completely. There will be no why you are here. So you see, here Bhagavan said that by performing your action, in which state you are doing your action, which passion you are doing your action. That is also very important, because you see, when you have your duty, you are doing something in life, you have to have faith in that. So if you don't have faith in what you are doing, then it's better you don't do it. It will not lead you anywhere. So action is important. So faith is important when you are acting. So in different milieu, in different path, you have different duties in life itself. So the same, if you have faith, and of course you have to use your reason. So do it and move forward with your life.
Dear Guruji, what is the best way to explain murti worship to my Western friends that don't understand it? I understand them because from the outside it looks weird to feed statues and put them to bed on a daily basis. Can you help us explain this?
Yes, in the Western culture, you don't have this personal, inaction with deity, with God, because you see, in the West, you just pray to God, and that's it. You go on your knees, you light a candle, and of course, you don't have this personal relationship, to care for the deity itself, how we have in India. In India we have this personal interaction with our deity. So, but you see, when we observe a child, for example, okay, when you're a child, you interact with your toys, no? How have you seen a small girl playing with her toy? How is her action with her toy? She will dress her toy, she will have to comb the hair and so on. And then even she will put the baby doll to sleep. So in that way, that child grow in having a different understanding, because you built a certain relationship. So it's the same thing. When you build a relationship between people, okay? When you care for somebody, what do? You invite them to a coffee, no? You invite them to cinema. You cook for them. You bring them a flower. You sleep next to them. You have a beautiful, bed, and you want everything nice for those which you care for. So the same thing, from the outside, of course, it will look strange. Some of your friends will tell you, why are you wasting your time in doing all these things for this person? But no, because you love that person, you want to express what what you feel inside of you. So due to that expression itself, you become close to that person. If you don't invest into your relationship with that person, then they will not care for you. Just say you love somebody, and you don't express yourself to that person. You are just like a block of wood, stern and just miserable, whatever. There's no smile on your face. There's no reaction from you, whatever. You are inert completely. How would that your partner or really act upon? Then there will be, okay, you will not adventure into that firstly, because you don't feel it. So you see, with Bhagwan is the same thing. When we have this personal relationship with him, we like to express ourselves to him. And of course, those who worship the deity, for them, they know very well they are not they are not acting towards just a statue. It is bliss, it is the essence of the divine which prevailed within that deity which you are worshipping, you are building your relationship to. And that is the most important thing, that the outside is reminding you of your relationship to him. And of course, Bhagwan is beyond this, like he said itself in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam actually. God is not the stone, is not the metal, is not the stone, is not the stone having carved. But what make that stone alive, what make that deity, that wood alive, what make that metal alive is what is alive inside of you. So from inside, you start to react upon. So when it starts to react upon, then it starts to manifest itself. Then the deity is not the deity only. It's not just a statue. There is a beautiful story of a saint, called Padmaji. Padmaji, he used to worship Lord Krishna with so much love. Every day he will take his deity and will do his abhishekam. And that deity was made of gold, by the way. And wherever he will go, he will take that deity. So one day, he went into a secluded place and he did the worship, the abhishekam of Lord Krishna. So as he was worshipping, there was a thief there. And the thief was watching him. So the moment he found the right time is, he jumped with a knife and threatened Padmaji, and he stole the deity of the Lord, and he stole all the ornaments of the Lord himself and ran away. And so you see, being in a secluded place, nobody could help him. So as the deity was running away from Padmaji felt as if his soul had been pulled out from his heart, and he just collapsed and cried for Bhagwan and said, Lord, it's only you who can help. So seeing that, Bhagwan is Bhaktavatsal, those who look after his devotee. He, with his Maya, he came to the rescue of his devotee. And what he did, he made the shoes of the thief came out from his feet. And the shoes start to beat him up. So he started to run left, right, everywhere he started to run. But continuously he will get beaten up by the shoes. So he starts running. Further he will run, more beating he will get by his own shoes automatically. So as he was running, like screaming, not understanding what was happening, he came back where the saint was. And looking at the saint, he was like panicking. He was in deep confusion. He didn't know what was happening to him. Then he fell down at the saint's feet and asked for forgiveness. And he gave back the deity to the saints. And the moment he asked for forgiveness, the saint forgave him. The beating stopped. And then he surrendered and became his devotee. So you see, when one developed a certain relationship to even the so-called idol outside, but actually it is the Lord himself. But those which is into the outside world will not perceive that. They will not, realize that, because for them they see only the outside. And of course, you see, very often they will say, oh yeah, you're just worshipping an idol. Not only in the West, but also in the East, in India itself. Some of the people will say, oh, this is very low. They categorize the worship of the deity as being very basis, because they don't know. But that relationship which one developed in worshipping the deity, that make the Lord carry one to the highest of all, heaven itself. So it's not about this. So when you have the true understanding of what you are doing truly, when you're worshipping, like you said, it can be funny for the people in the outside when they see you bathing the deity, they say to you, oh, you're feeding the deity, and you're dressing the deity, you are putting the deity to bed. But actually you're just doing the same as you do to yourself, no? The deity is a reminder also of you. You go, you take your shower, you eat, you drink, you sleep, no? So here you're having a relationship with something which is supreme, not something which is bound by limitation. So this is only the devotee can understand. Even if you explain to them, they will of course laugh at you, because for them it's something which is in the outside, not understanding. But when you see in some of the churches, for example, itself, you will see that if you go to Russia, you see the people, how much devotion they have towards their icons, and they have a certain, also I would say, in a certain relationship. Of course, they don't go into the deepness to put the icon to bed, all these things, but they do have this veneration for this, which is represent the divine and remind them of God in their life. And I'm sure I have seen many people being really grateful about that also. So all this aspect of the divine, how one express themselves toward the divine, it is an expression of this relationship that we have. And whether people understanding or people don't understanding, people ridiculize it or not, it doesn't matter. It is your relationship. You should know very well that when you are happy, people will never be happy. So you have to be happy for yourself and held to what people say about your worship. So.
Dear Guruji, you said that it is difficult to handle and be around you. But what is the state we should strive for to be able to achieve this?
Well, firstly, you have to change your mind because this is what make it difficult. Because in your mind you have so much understanding of what it have to be. You know? And then as long as you hold upon that mind, which is so much full of dirt itself, you know, then it will be very difficult to handle. But if your mind is purified and really you cross over that mind itself, then it becomes easy. So, but also one should have that respect, and one should have that, I would say, deeper understanding of what it is to be near the Guru. You know, because being near the Guru, it's like I said, you know, it's like being near fire constantly, and that is you all know about that, you know, and not everybody can handle that. So that's why. So in being near to the Guru, you should all forget about yourself completely. And because if you hold upon yourself what you know about yourself, you will never be able to be near to the Guru. So that's why. Jai Gurudev.